Goodfellas Sports TV. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And Eubanks Jr. said that the plan is for him and Jermall Charlo to meet, next. So if Eubanks can get past Matt Korobov and Jermall Charlo can get past, Dennis Hogan, which I think is a very underrated fight. I think both of them is an underrated fight. That's a fantastic card. If you don't know, I think December 7th, they fighting on the same card. I believe it's at the Barclays Center, so it's Chris Eubanks Jr.'s American debut. Okay, I didn't know he hadn't fought in America to this point. I know he did some amateur fights over in America. So this is debut in New York. So I think it's good for him. But hey, I think anybody that knows how PBC work and usually knows how boxing work, when boxing is ready to showcase, fighters, they usually when they're ready to put fighters together, they usually showcase them on the same card. So like we talked about this fight a couple weeks ago on the live, a week ago on the live, and I told people not to count Chris Eubanks Jr. out in this fight. Now, I know Chris Eubanks Jr. a few years ago when Danny Jacobs was the regular WBA title holder. I know Chris Eubanks Jr. ducked that fade. Now, he's been at 168 for a minute. He said he's a natural 160 on SHOWBOX last night, and it wouldn't be any problem for him to come down and weight to fight Jermall Charlo. And I think he should get past Matt Korobov. Now, people say, well, Korobov gave Jermall Charlo a lot of problems, you know what I'm saying? And I felt that Korobov actually beat Jermall Charlo, in my opinion. But styles make fights, okay? Charlo is a different type of fighter. He's a guy that's, longer, taller, and really he wants to fight you from the outside to keep you at the end of his punches. Korobov was able to time him. I think Eubanks, and obviously Korobov a year later is an older fighter. And I think Eubanks Jr. is going to outwork Korobov. If not, they're going to make sure Eubanks Jr. win that fight because they do not want to do Korobov and Jermall Charlo 2. That don't sell, all right? So they got to make sure Jermall Charlo win. Chris Eubanks Jr. win anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. If he do get a gift decision and Korobov get robbed, y'all know I'll be the first one to keep it 100 on that. But I do think that Chris Eubanks will actually win that fight. I think he will outwork Matt Korobov, the older Korobov. I think his style is bad for Korobov because he's a high work rate. I think he'll feel stronger. I think he'll feel faster. I think he'll be punching harder at 160 pounds. So, and I think, Jermall Charlo should take care of Dennis Hogan. Now, I have heard if Jermall Charlo beats Dennis Hogan and looks bad or looks, pedestrian in doing so, that Canelo Alvarez will look to fight Jermall Charlo next. He is on the short list to fight Canelo. All right, so Canelo is Jermall Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G, Callum Smith, I believe, in that order. And things change. I always tell you that things change, and I think for Canelo, the smart thing to do would be come down and fight Billy Joe at 168, and then come back down to 160, or have a tune-up at 68 and come back down. But with his contract saying he make $35 million. He got to get great fights. And then again, if he fights Triple G, the zone is willing to pay more for that fight. I don't know if it's going to be 50, 60, $100 million like it's being said that he's asking for. I heard it was $80 million he was asking for from the zone to fight Triple G. But don't keep that in mind. Jermall Charlo and Canelo could happen next. And then, Eubanks Jr. will be left to do something else. All right? But right now, PBC plans is for Chris Eubanks to take Jermall Charlo on next. And, Jermall actually can still do both. He fight in December. I believe Canelo won't be back to January. So, if he have an easy night with Dennis Hogan, then we might be looking at a situation where then he might, do a quick turnaround and fight Eubanks. But it is what it is. But if, Canelo lose, which we all know he won't tonight, then maybe Canelo don't come back for a while. So maybe he can squeeze it in. But Charlo and Eubanks, man, I'm not Eubanks Jr. I'm not 100% sure Charlo gonna spark Eubanks Jr. out. People got this imagination that Jermall Charlo is this great fighter. And like I said, I like the brother, but I just gotta keep it real. He ain't that good. He been regressing. And people say he should knock out Chris Eubanks Jr. Well, he didn't knock out korobov. He didn't knock out Brandon Adams, but I get it, because Chris Eubanks Jr. is reckless. He wild. He get out of position. He don't hold his position, or he don't have the boxing skills that a Matt korobov have, or he don't even have the fundamentals that Brandon Adams got. So I smell people on that, man. But I just think it's going to be a better fight. I think Chris Eubanks Jr., if he can get past Jermall and Charlo jab and get on the inside, I feel like he can work him. I think that might be an early 2020 Fight of the Year candidate. You got a guy that likes to keep you at range. You got a guy that likes to get on the inside and smother you and work and outwork you. So, you know, Billy Joe Saunders had his problems with Chris Eubanks Jr., even though he seemed to be a little bit out of shape in that fight. But Chris Eubanks Jr. got great stamina. Charlo got great stamina. They both got solid chins. And I don't know if Chris Eubanks Jr. is training with old boy that he had got him ready for the James DeGill fight, but you know, I think that's gonna be a little war. And I'm not as sold on Jermall Charlo like some people is. And quite frankly, I've never been sold on him. I seen him fight in person when he fought Hugo Centennial Jr. And I always thought he was the lesser of the Charlo twins. You know, people think he was better because he punched harder. But Jermall Charlo was the one that was signed with Golden Boy. Jermall Charlo was the one that had better boxing skills. He had better feet. He had better head movement. Jermall Charlo is very, very stiff in his approach these days. He very basic. He a 1-2 fighter. Don't move his head a lot. He big. He's strong. He got a little pop in his punches. He got some good speed, but foot movement average. You know what I'm saying? And boxing skills average. Now, you know, that punch that he hit J-Rock with, that was a 1 in 1 million punch. And I think, you know, I thought that he was going to continue to, you know, not just flash that ability. I thought he was going to kind of make it more consistent. But really, I ain't been impressed with him at all. I have not been impressed. His last impressive fight was versus Hugo Centennial Jr., the guy that quit versus J-Rock before that. But at the end of the day, he didn't knock out Adams. He didn't knock out korobov. He didn't look impressive beating Adams neither. So I feel if Brandon Adams can hang with him, I believe Eubanks Jr. should be able to hang with him. And I do think that's a sneaky, really good fight. I think that's a really, really good fight, man. And I would favor Jermall Charlo, but I do think it can go either way. It wouldn't surprise me if that fight went either way. People got this imagination, like some of the Mexicans or people the Dominicans who love Carlos Adames, and sometimes, you know, these dudes be making me think, and I be like, man, this dude ain't that good. Like, Reach's progress. I was like, man, I really don't, you know, he's a good fighter, but I don't really see all that in a bag of chips. You know, and at the end of the day, a lot of people put a lot of hope. They put a lot of hope in Jermall Charlo, but I've been very vocal. This last, you know, Jermall Charlo I've seen versus Adams, versus korobov, versus whoever it may be. You know, I feel that Canelo would destroy Charlo. I'm not saying that he will stop Charlo. You know, I do think Charlo would have to be a savage and try to go for the knockout, because he can't box with Canelo Alvarez. Not this Charlo I've been seeing. Him and F.A. and Jabwe under Ronnie Shields have been regressing. And you know, Erislandy Lara left Ronnie Shields too. I think a lot of people don't know that he went to Ismael Salas, the old legendary Cuban coach in Vegas. So, you know, F.A. and Jabwe and Jermall Charlo got a lot of the same problems too. And Ronnie Shields need to correct that. But you know what? I think that fight can go either way. I would favor Jermall Charlo, maybe 60-40. But it wouldn't surprise me if Eubanks Jr., you know, put the smack of down on his Rudy Poop. You know what I'm saying? But let me know what y'all think. You know, Chris Eubanks Jr. said Charlo next if they both win. Y'all know Charlo is taking on Dennis Hogan, main event December 7th on Showtime. And I heard Showtime is supposed to be throwing their weight around next year to survive in the game. So I heard that they supposed to be spending more money to get big fights on Showtime. But the problem is what I heard is a lot of fighters don't want to fight on Showtime. They want to fight on Fox because of the notoriety. You know, on that December 7th card, the co-feature is Eubanks taking on Matt korobov at 160. So korobov continued to be an older fighter, fighting at 160, who used to fight at 68. So we'll see how it really go down. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. We talk NBA, NFL, MMA. I'll be covering the Canelo Kovalev fight tonight. I'll be covering the UFC card tonight as well too, to my best of my abilities. I'm still learning about the UFC game, so bear with me. I ain't the most knowledgeable guy in that, but I do appreciate it, and you know, we talk the truth, man, and at least we try to, and you know, give a little bit of my opinion on that. But hey, man, we not ducking no conversations, no matter if the fighter black, white, Simpson yellow, green, or orange. If it's to be talked about, we don't dodge it. I don't answer to nobody. I don't have nobody, you know, hitting me up telling me to censor my content. We gonna talk about it, and we gonna keep it real. We gonna keep it the real trio over here, man. So don't forget, you want to make a donation to the channel. That link's in the description. Best way to donate is share the video. Other than that, don't forget me on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You need to reach out to me. My email is in the description. If you got a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video quest, best way to hit me up is email or Twitter, but all platforms work. I check them every now and again. Check my other channel out, Motor City Sports Talk, for everything Detroit. One time for the one time. Y'all know what the business is. Goodfellas Sports TV. We gone.